It's like a formula. Let's see here. Make sure you put, you can copy everything down. Just make sure you have NR. If you didn't do it, you go NR. Okay. Ready? This is not the one? Are you kidding me? Redo. Okay, here we go. May 2024. Okay. Kevin gets a loan, right? So we're in the loan territory. Loans, think of it this way. Mortgages, loans, future value should be zero, right? You're going to want to pay that off. So we're buying a car and we pay with the following conditions. Semi-monthly payments for 72 months, 4.75% compounded monthly. Determine the amount of Kevin's payments. So let's go and figure that out. You just follow along, make sure you make corrections. Just make sure you use a pen or something that looks different, right? So that I know, or you do it right beside it if you feel like you made a mistake. Compounded monthly, so this is 12 payments per year. Semi-monthly means twice a month. So that's actually 24 payments a year. Okay. If you struggle with that, have a little cheat on your cheat sheet, right? That helps you with that. Future value, 0. Payment, we'll figure it out. Present value, 55,000. Now I want to say something about this. If you do the booklet questions, I have questions where we add taxes to a car, like it's 55,000 plus PST and GST. So we would do that first. We would add taxes to this amount, then plug it in, because guess what? You have to pay taxes, right? If that's the case. Is it something common? No. Usually I haven't seen, but I want to prepare you for everything. Okay. But so if you add taxes, then do the taxes, right? You will go 55,000 times 1.12, and that gives you the total plus the taxes. Okay. Moving on. 4.75 is my interest rate. And what is that? Well, it's, remember I told you it's years times PY. So what I would do is I would go 72 divided by 12. That's 6 years, right? So 72 months converts to 6 years. That's just what I do. You might have done it a different way, but I will go 6 years multiplied by 24. And that gives me 144 payments overall. Okay, so you go alpha, and I'm going to actually solve this. And if you made a mistake, I still encourage you to solve this with me, just so when we use balance or sum of interest that you can actually get the same. So watch out, PY changes CY, right? So you got to watch out for that. Alpha solve, and so it's 439.27. You do not need to have the sign on it. The sign is just for you to know which way the cash is flowing. This should be negative because you're giving this to the bank on a semi-monthly basis, okay? There you go. You get 2 marks for this if everything is correct. And if there's a dollar sign, there's no dollar sign, you would lose half a mark for it not being there, okay? Next, determine the amount of interest Kevin will pay in the first 5 years. You don't have a choice but to use this one. From the first to the 5th year. Before you go ahead and do that, I will go 5 times 24, which is 120. That is what should go in here. 120 payments go by after 5 years. And so that amounts to 7998.64. So you quit your screen here. It has to be solved. And then you just go and find sum of interest. Like so. Okay. So there it is. You don't have a choice. You can't do it differently if it's partial, if it's just like in between or from the beginning to like halfway through, or any partial amounts. You can't use any other formula, so you're stuck with it. Yeah, off from this. But you use this is the same. Anybody else? What's your TVM? I guess you. How much are we talking? Like just a few cents, or more than a few cents? And you get the same answer up here than me? No. So you get full marks here, but you would lose up. Yeah, that's how we would mark it. If you show us this, yeah, please show your work. So it doesn't. You think it's nothing, right? But if you do this right, even though A was wrong, you still get the full marks here. I just have to recalculate based on your mistake up in A. Please don't make mistakes. It's a lot of work for me. Just kidding. You just do your best. Okay, that's all I care about. Determine the total amount Kevin pays back for his loan. Um, I'm gonna maybe ask you total paid back, paid to the bank. I call this, and it's basically just N times PMT. Right? That's basically how much you pay the bank. So we've got 144 payments of 439.27, and that is 63,254 and 88. Because remember, right? And you should see that this amount is bigger than 55,000, right? So if you make a mistake and you recalculate, it's like, remember, you always pay them back more than what they gave you. If that's not happening, you probably made a mistake on your payment calculations. Okay, next, calculate the finance charge. I want you to be familiar with the wording. Total interest is the same thing as finance charge paid for this loan. You can use this. You just go 1 to 144. I got 80, sorry, 82, 54, 79 for this. Or you can just go 63, 254, 88. So that's N times PMT minus the amount you've borrowed. And it's slightly different. 82, 54, 88. So either one of these gets you the mark on that one. So we are out of 6 on this page here. Too much space. I don't know. I should change this a little bit. Okay, keep going. Backside. Lawrence is considering a couple of investment options. We've got option 1 and option 2. Anybody catch right off the bat without even starting that there's a problem here? I don't know if you paid attention. At GIC, you cannot make monthly contributions. You just like lock it in. You can come with $5,000 and say, okay, take my 5 and lock it in, but you cannot take out. You cannot put in the meantime. Okay, so I apologize. I should have, to be 100% honest, I got this one from a different teacher, and I'm just gonna let you know, GICs, it doesn't work, but it doesn't affect the calculations of this question. It does not affect it. Okay, option 1, investing $50 per week, 20 years, 3.5% compounded quarterly, or 200 each month, same interest rate, same compounding periods, same time frame. So everything is the same. Which one would you say would be higher still? So when you get a question like this, think about it. You can go ahead and calculate that yourself. You can actually make sure using the TVM solver. I'm going to check to see which one is higher, but you need to be able to explain why that is. So I'll say this. Given that all is the same, so interest, rate, term, and compounding periods, right? So given that all is the same, the option with the highest contribution will be the best, will be best. So there's a number of ways that you can do this. You could say option one, think about it this way. If you make 50 $50 contributions times how many weeks in a year, right? Times 20 years. So we're not using the TVM solver. Okay. That's 52,000. Versus option two. Oh, is this going to bite me? I tried to make it that it doesn't bite me. 200 times 12 times 20. 48,000. So you can tell at this point it would have to be option one, right? Option one is best, comma, because you contribute more. And if you put more money in, it's going to grow more too, right? Because the interest rate is still going to make it grow more. This is just purely like how much you put in from your own money. And obviously, we're going to have to tack on the interest that you earn. That's one way of doing it. I don't know if somebody tried to say, well, $52 a week amounts to over $200 a month. I don't know if anybody went for that one. This is the reasoning why. I don't know if you get paid bi-weekly, you make a bit more than just times two a month. I don't know if you know that part, but look at this part here. 50 times 52, you divide that by 12 to get a monthly amount. 50 times 52, divide that by 12. It's 216 a month. You could have also argued that $50 a week is the equivalent of 216.67 a month, which is more than $200 a month. And there you win that way. So it's up to you how you want to go about it. So if you get paid, let's say your paycheck is $300 every 2 weeks, you might say, oh, I make 600 a month. You actually make a little bit more than that because you go 300 times how many biweekly periods? 26, right? This is how much you make in a year. You divide that by 12, you actually make 650 a month on average. I always like to know that because I used to get paid biweekly whenever I had my other jobs, right? So it's like, hey, I make a little bit more than just 600 a month because you get that extra paycheck. Twice a year, you make an extra paycheck that month. Okay. All right. Oh, if if his friend James says, where's Isabel? Oh, Isabel disagrees. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not thinking. I want to make sure I don't get tripped by my own question. So Isabel disagrees. So Isabel is correct. Yeah. Answer that question, Mr. Dixon. Therefore, oh, so what was your reasoning? Isabel is correct. Okay. So you said that, so you disagreed? Oh, you agreed with James. Well, I think I should have said without using the TVM solver, maybe. I'd say it'll never hurt you to justify your answers with some calculations. I think here I just meant don't use the TVM solver to know for sure, right? Yeah. But so if you didn't calculate and you answered and your answer said that Isabel is correct, I would give you the mark then today. All right, let's keep going. B, determine the future value of the investment you chose in A. And so I realized that some of you might have picked one or the other, so that makes it a little trickier. So let's split it in half here. I'll do both. So the savings or the GIC. Okay. So we're gonna go with savings NI, PV, PMT. I'm gonna do both. So regardless of which one you picked, you're gonna get the marks for B if you did that right. So if you pick the savings as quarterly, your payments are weekly. So this is 52. We're gonna figure out the future value. You're making $50 payments, has to be negative. You've got nothing to start off with. This is 3.5, and this would be 20 years times 52. So that is 1,040 of them, 1,040 payments. So if you do this, you get 75,154.38. Okay, so that's how much you have as a future value. So this would be I. Okay. Double I says the amount of interest Lawrence has earned. So I will go sum of interest 1 to 1,040. I calculated 23,154.38. And the third question is to determine the rate of return. So you basically have to take your interest divided by how much you've put in. How much was placed in under this scenario? The answer is this times this, right? So the number of payments times 40. Sorry, times 50. And you multiply this by 100. So it's 23,154.38 over. When you multiply these two, you get 52,000 times 100. And that ends up being 44.53%. Okay, 44.53%. GIC, that one is also quarterly, monthly payments, future value. We'll figure it out. $200 a month, 3.5 still. This would be 20 years times 12. So that's 240 payments you've made there. So that's I, and you get 69,295.81. Okay. So you would get that mark if you chose that in A. II is 1 to 240, and you make 21,295.81. So you get a mark for that as well. And then triple I is 21,295.81 over you making 240 payments of $200. And you multiply that by 100. So that's 21,295.81 over, that is a total of 48,000 times 100. Oh, that's not a dollar amount, sorry. That's a percentage. So that's 44.37 It's very close, right? But it's a little lower than the first one. So that kind of uh, verifies that you actually um, answered it correctly if you did them both, right, side by side. Lawrence would like to know what the investment would be worth after the first 7 years. Determine this amount. This is based on your calculations and B. So you got to go balance. You have to watch out here. It's 5 years. No, sorry, 7. If you pick this one here, it's 7 times whatever PY is. That's balance of 364. And so you would have 20,604.96. If you chose this, the GIC, it's balance of 7 years times whatever your PY is there, which is 12. So that would be balance of 84. And so you would have 18,998.72 in your account. That is including any interest that was earned up until that point. So always remember years times PY. Okay? That's, I would put that on my study sheet. Whatever PY is, that's what you plug into balance. Same with sum of interest, except for there you always have to go 1 comma whatever your end is. Okay. So technically this page is 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 5, sorry. Let's make this out of 4 because I feel like A was a bit of a, I need that sound effect, the duck sound effect. Frank. It was a hit and a miss. So we'll make this out of 4, okay? I need to rewrite that one because it should actually say which one should he choose and why. That's, I'm going to rewrite that right after we're done here. 4 and 6. So this is out of 10. Out of 10, make sure your name and last name is on there, but hold on to it for now. We'll pass them both at the same time. No, not a good idea. Pass this one forward. Make sure your name is facing down because otherwise I'm going to have a salad of ACs that I have to sort through. AC number 2. So just make sure you correct this. There is no down payment mentioned, so the entire 275 goes in there. I would have an argument against that because 5% down is the minimum these days. Yeah. Oh, you handed in? Okay. One sec. All right. So here we go. Compounded semi-annually, so that's 2. Payments are semi-monthly, so it's 24, 0, 275, 3.2. 25 years over 24 semi-monthly periods at 600. So our payment is 664.46. Of course, that's going to be negative because it's going to the bank, but the present value has to be positive. Okay. Next, uh, determine the balance owing. So after 5 years, you go 5 times PY. So that's balance of 120. You owe this much still, 235. This is actually pretty cool. Like if you want to plan for the future and you're in a mortgage right now, it's like, hey, I wonder how much I'm going to owe down the road. Because remember, as soon as interest is involved, it's not linear, it's compounded, right? So it either grows exponentially or it drops exponentially. So it's not necessarily as predictable as you think. C, determine the amount of interest paid in the first 5 years. So it's 1 to 120 because I already know 5 years is the equivalent of 120 in my case here. So this is how much interest you've paid after 5 years. and equity. I hope you got a chance to practice this. So it's 275, right? And we're going up by 2.75%. So I go 1 plus to the power of 5 minus, I already know how much I owe in 5 years. I've already done that. So I just clean this up a little bit. I think what I need to warn you here is like, don't rush. Don't rush because you might start nicely, it's all filled in, but then you don't get this one right. So after 5 years, the house is worth 314 and we owe this much on it. So your equity is 78,998.66. Do we have that? Do we have a couple of people that got this? Couple? Yeah, got it. Okay. Calculate the total interest paid over the life of the mortgage. You go with sum of interest, 1 to 600. So this would be like capital N right now, not lowercase n. It's the entire 600. And obviously, if you do the formula, it's going to be slightly off. Today, I'm just going to assume you got it right. We're not going to sweat it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 for this page. And of course, if you made a mistake in A, that will transfer, and we're not going to take off more marks because of that, right? Yeah. Everything else is the same, it's just this is off. Just go R rounding. Just half a mark. 0.73. Yeah, just take half a mark off. We're good? Okay, backside. I'm getting to the rule of 72. I know you were all looking forward to that one. Rule of 72. So the backside, we're investing. So we start with nothing, but we're gonna figure out the payments. You want 100,000. This is coming to you. So you got to make sure it's positive. Compounding and payments are both monthly. So then I go 10 years times 12 is 120. My payment is 697.19, and it makes sense because I'm giving it to the bank, right? So that's the number I want. So 2 marks if you got all of this right. B, based on the calculation, how much interest has Kiara earned in 10 years? So you can use this one, or you can use the formula, whatever works for you, but you earn 16,336.99. Did you use the formula? We have to look into. Anybody else get 9.6? Oh, it's me this time. 9.6? Yeah. 9.6 it is. Thank you for bringing it up. 9.6 it is. What's the balance of Kiara's investment after 5 years? Why is it not half the goal since it's half the time? And your answer will be compound interest. So first of all, balance of 60 is this much. That's less than 50,000, right? Because half would be 50. It's because the interest earned is compound. It grows exponentially, starting slow, then increasing towards the end. So compound interest isn't linear. It's not like, oh, like halfway through we're going to get to 50 and then it'll be another 50 the second half. It doesn't work like that. It grows exponentially. So it first goes like this and then all of a sudden it just goes up rapidly. So just because you're halfway through in years, it doesn't mean that you're going to have half the money already. It's like a snowball effect. It will get bigger after that. So the main is compound and growing exponentially. Those are your key terms there. I will accept pretty much anything you said today if it makes sense. Okay. D, using the rule of 72, determine how long it would take for Kiara's investment to grow to 800,000. So remember, she has 100,000 in the bank now. So this is the first step. If you have this today I would give you a mark. Like if you figure out that the doubling rate or the amount of time it takes to double, I should say doubling time, is 72 divided by the interest rate that is offered. So that's 20.57 years. So look at it this way. It took 10 years to get me to 100,000. And you're like, some of you are like, wait a minute, no, it's zero, Mr. Erickson, because you always said zero. That's okay as well. Let me just walk you through this. So from 10, I add 20.57, it doubles my money. I add another 20.57, it doubles my money. I add another 20.57, it doubles my money. Okay, so once you get to the 800,000, and when you do these types of questions, it will work out that you get the exact amount you're after, right? We're going to make sure that happens. This could have been 1,000, like $1,000 turning into $8,000. Same scenario here. So the amount of money isn't really what matters, it's the years that go by. But you just keep doubling the money. And so technically it will take from 0 to 800,000, it takes this long. But if you said I will accept this one here, 61.71 years. I will accept that one too, because if we're just interested from 100,000 to 800,000, then it takes 61.71 years. But if you add the 10 years that already went by, like from 0, if you start from 0, then it would be 71.71 years. So this is from 100K to 800K. This part right here. This is from 0 to 800K. So if you have 61 or 71, I will accept them both in this case. So that'll be your other mark there. Okay, so this back side is 2, 3, 4, and another 2. This back side is worth 6. So 6 for the back and 7 for the front gives us a total of 13 at the top. Okay,